You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I've ever met. I'm stuck on your heart.
Tenants and communities across the province dedicate their time, energy, and wisdom to making their communities good places to live. Today, ONPHA is honoring 4 remarkable individuals for their contribution to nonprofit housing, their fellow tenants, and their neighborhoods. Our first recipient is Leanne Smith. Leanne has been active in Toronto Community Housing's Dundas Gooch Scarlett community for over 20 years. She has served for many years as president of her local residents group and on Toronto Community Housing's Anti-Ableism Committee. Leanne is a natural organizer with a drive to get people involved in making her community a friendly and safe place to live. She has initiated a number of community programs, from an after-school program and a hot lunch program to a diversity and equity group. For over a decade, Leanne has spearheaded the Dundas Gooch Scarlett Beautification and Planting Program. Close to half the households in the community are involved. Last year, Leanne received the City of Toronto Clean and Beautiful City Award on behalf of the group, which has created much-used gardens and sitting areas. Linda Coltman, a fellow tenant, says Leanne always makes sure children, seniors, and people with disabilities are involved in the projects, and that everyone has an opportunity to develop new skills. Linda herself learned to cook from Leanne, who recruited her to help with countless community meals. Each year, Leanne organizes recognition events and gifts for volunteers in her community. ONPHA is delighted to recognize Leanne Smith. Without doubt, she's made and is making a real difference in her community. Our next award winner is Sandra Pilote of Ottawa Community Housing. Sandra is an exemplary tenant volunteer who makes outstanding efforts to promote quality housing, whether working in her community or at the provincial level. For over 10 years she has been an active leader and chair of the Tenant Association at Beausejour, where she lives, has co-chaired Ottawa Community Housing's East District Committee, has been a member of the Tenant Advisory Group to the Board of Directors, and has chaired the Tenant Working for Tenants, a corporation-wide group of tenant leaders. In addition to her work with Ottawa Community Housing, Sandra has served as a tenant board member on ONPHA's Board of Directors from 2001 to 2004, and has been a member of ONPHA's Tenant Advisory Committee. She has also joined the board of the Lowerton Good Neighbours Community House, which runs a food bank, computer, and after-school program in downtown Ottawa. Sandra is involved in everything, says Ottawa Community Housing staff person Gail Henry, who has worked with Sandra on committees, events, and the Tenant Association Handbook. Sandra is someone you can always count on, is highly respected and liked by tenants. She's fun to work with, and she makes an incredible contribution. In 2005, Sandra was honored with a much-deserved Ontario Voluntary Service Award from the Ontario Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration. ONPHA is pleased to recognize her today for her contribution to her nonprofit and serving as a model for tenants in many communities. Our third winner is Najmundeen Esmail. Najmundeen is a committed advocate for tenants in Toronto Community Housing's Overlea community, where he is serving his 3rd term as elected tenant representative. He works very hard to represent the views of tenants in his seniors community. He has been a strong and successful advocate for building improvements, safety measures, and recreation facilities. Najmundeen is a tireless organizer of activities for tenants, including a community lunch program, Tai Chi classes, African and Asian Heritage Month events, as well as programs geared to seniors' health needs, wellness workshops, on-site hearing tests, and an osteoporosis clinic. By making connections in community agencies, Najmundeen is helping tenants connect with the services that they need. Najmundeen sits on the board of Community Care East York and is a member of the Seniors Action Coalition for the Toronto Central Local Health Integration Network. Najmundeen works energetically on behalf of his fellow tenants. As he says, they are like family, and when they are happy, so is he. ONPHA is pleased today to salute this tenant leader and his achievements. Najmuddin Esmail is serving tenants and making his community a better place to live. Our final award winner is Linda Chamberlain. As a tenant at Mainstay Housing in Toronto, Linda epitomizes leadership excellence and the drive to live life to the fullest, says her nominator, Mainstay Housing Executive Director Bridget Witkowski. Linda moved to Mainstay Housing in 1996 after years of struggling with mental illness and living on the street, and with a place to call home, she has never looked back. Linda quickly got involved in volunteer activities and before long was elected to the board of directors. She went on to serve as vice president and president of the board of Mainstay Housing. Despite a busy schedule, Linda continues to help with Mainstay's food program, serves on the conflict resolution team, and supports tenants with day-to-day living. Linda is a tireless advocate for supportive housing. She meets regularly with politicians, health professionals, the public, and school children to tell her story and talk about the potential of people who have been pushed to the side. Besides being a member of ONPHA's Tenant Advisory Group, she plays a key role in many advocacy groups including the Dream Team, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health's Beyond the Label work group, and a Daily Bread Food Bank anti-poverty group. 5 years ago, Linda was honored by the Center for Addiction and Mental Health with the much-deserved Courage to Come Back award. Today, she is working full-time at CAMH as a volunteer coordinator and planning her new ventures. She's setting up a People and Pets work group to help people deal with the loss of a pet, and she has joined the comedy troupe called Stand Up for Mental Health, where she is raising awareness about mental illness and fighting stigma with laughter. Linda is engaging, inclusive, and irrepressible, and serves as a role model for tenants and housing providers alike. Please join me in recognizing these 4 remarkable individuals who are this year's recipient of ONPHA's Tenant Achievement Recognition Awards: Leanne Smith, Sandra Pilat, Najmuddin Esmail, and Linda Chamberlain.